After a slight snow delay, the process of gathering input on Boston's 2024 Olympic bid is getting underway tonight with the first public meeting held by the city. And the inspirational videos from the organization behind the push are making a hard sell.
When you talk about great sports towns across this country, it's hard not to have Boston at the top of the list.
People are not only fans, but they know the game.
Athletics energizes, it can gather, it's a wide and a broad brush.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a Bostonian who's not a sports fan.
Right now, the vast majority of Boston area politicians favor the city's pursuit of the 2024 Summer Games. And while Boston Mayor Marty Walsh has promised a robust public conversation about the Games, supporters have also said that nixing the bid simply isn't an option. But Boston City Councilor Josh Zakim has a different take. He wants Bostonians to vote on 4 different issues surrounding the Games, and he joins me now. Josh, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So just to be clear at the outset, this does not mean that you are an opponent of the Games, right?
Absolutely not. I mean, we worded these questions as neutrally as we could to make sure that the public has an opportunity to weigh in on the biggest issues surrounding Boston's pursuit of the 2024 Games.
So what are the 4 topics that you want the public, Boston public, to be able to weigh in on?
Well, the first one is, should the Games be held at all? Should any public money be used? Should the city guarantee any financial cost overruns incurred by the Games? And should the city use its eminent domain power to take land on behalf of the Games?
So the council took up your proposal at yesterday's council meeting.
Right.
How did that go?
So I introduced it. It was sent to a special committee on the 2024 Olympics, which was created by a vote of the council yesterday.
Was there any discussion when you introduced it in the council chambers?
No, I spoke about it, why I felt it was necessary, hearing from residents across the district, really across the city, and people saying that this is such an important project. This is potentially 9 years, a big unprecedented interaction between private organizations and the city that people really want to say on it. And I think that's why it's so important.
So did any of your colleagues, I know sometimes, it's been a while since I've been at a council meeting, but sometimes people get voluble. They like to stand up and talk, make their own opinions known. Did anyone follow your comments?
No, not this time, but we were at the end of a very long council meeting.
The council can be kind of an inscrutable body. The fact that it was sent to this special committee on the Olympics, does that bode well or ill for your proposal?
Well, like any sort of proposal in the council, it's referred to a committee, in this case I think the appropriate committee, and I asked when I introduced it for a quick hearing, and that's certainly something I'll be asking my colleagues for and the committee chairman to schedule in the coming weeks or so, to begin having that discussion and make sure that all the stakeholders, including the public, is able to weigh in and talk about what the language of this proposal should be and how to move it forward. Your
votes would be, if they became a reality, non-binding. Why are you taking that tack?
Well, under the state law that allows the council to put this measure on the ballot, it has to be non-binding. That's the vehicle we have. They're obviously through the state legislature and through getting state ballot referendums. I know there's an organization that is trying to do that. Those can be binding. But to go through this sort of mechanism, it's a non-binding thing under state law.
As you know, Mayor Marty Walsh has said that we don't need to vote, Boston doesn't need to vote on this, but it's okay to have what, again, he terms a robust public conversation. The first meeting is tonight. I think there's going to be 9 of them in total. Why do you think that that isn't enough?
Well, I think the mayor's public process that's beginning tonight, and I'll be there at Suffolk University Law School, is an incredibly important part. It's about informing people about the bid, what it entails, so that the residents of the city, when we get this on the ballot, can make an informed choice and can cast their vote. Getting the information is a first step, and it's an incredibly important step. But after that, a lot of people have been saying to me, and I agree with them, is what do we do next? We've got the information. This is going to have an impact, positive and negative. And the people who have come to me about this are not opponents of the Olympics. They're generally open-minded, but they want to say, this is a big thing. We should learn about it and have an opportunity to weigh in.
As you know, Joe Rull, who'd been the chief of operations for Mayor Walsh, just announced that he is going to work for Boston 2024, the committee that's pushing the Games, as its chief of administration, I believe. To me, that suggests a very close relationship between City Hall and Boston 2024. And I'm wondering, for your votes to actually occur, the mayor would need to sign off on them. Do you think that if they make it through the council, your ideas make it through the council, do you think that the mayor would say yes?
I think that's part of the legislative process we have, part of the committee hearing, and what we're going to discuss. I look forward to talking more with the mayor, with his team, and with my colleagues on the council, making sure we have a final proposal that he's comfortable signing that we can put before the voters in November.
If the council derails your proposal or the mayor says no, then what do you think you'll do?
I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I certainly think people are going to embrace this opportunity to let the public weigh in. America is the birthplace of American democracy, and I don't think there's anything more important than we're talking about taking on an unprecedented partnership between the public entity, the City of Boston, and a private entity, the USOC, the IOC, Boston 2024, that the public, the residents of the city, should have a real say in it.
Let me ask you just a couple more questions about this. On the eminent domain front, have you talked with any property owners who might end up losing their business or their residence if these plans proceed?
We have not directly, but I certainly would invite them to attend when we do schedule the hearing, because that's an important part of it.
When I told people on Twitter that I was going to be talking with you tonight, one question that it was suggested that I ask you is, why not craft a city ordinance that would state simply that no city money be spent on the games, as opposed to asking city residents, do you want to spend public money? Why not take that tack?
Well, I think number one is I'm not trying to prevent the games from occurring here by any means. This is a neutral ballot questions for the people to weigh in on. I think sometime down the road, if someone were trying to do that, that's another tack to take, but I'm in no means opposing the Olympics. This is not a pro-Olympic or anti-Olympic measure. It's a proposal to let people weigh in once they have more information 9 months from now.
One more question on reaction from your colleagues. Former Mayor Tom Menino was notorious for letting his displeasure be known if a councilor said something that kind of got in the way of a vision he had. Mayor Walsh is heartily behind this vision of a 2024 Summer Games. Have you received any feedback from the mayor, either from the mayor himself or from his surrogates?
Mayor Walsh and I think, have had a very constructive relationship. We worked well on legislation last year. Look forward to working with him again. We are in communication. I know at this point, I think we have differing views on the ballot referendum, but we've had a very constructive and open lines of communication.
So just to be clear, did he say anything to you when this, when he learned that you were going to be doing this, like, I can't believe you're doing this, or, good for you for...
nothing along those lines. Like I said, the beginning of this process is going to be discussing with my colleagues first and the mayor's office to make sure we have something that can be passed by the council and hopefully signed by the mayor.
All right, Josh Zakim, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.